Hello everyone, welcome back to another election video. This time we're taking a look at what would be the Republicans' best case scenario in the 2026 Senate map. Now, they definitely would have a higher ceiling than the Democrats would in their best case scenario, just because Republicans do typically a lot better in smaller rural states, and that gives them a pretty large advantage in the Senate map. So let me just finish set up the safe red states here and some of the safe blue states. Okay, I think we can begin now. So starting off, I would put Florida and Texas as safe red in a best case scenario. Let's say that in Texas, John Cornyn, let's say he wins the primary, he would be the best candidate for Republicans to run, and he actually has a chance of winning by over 10%, unlike Ken Paxton, who would make this a much closer race. In Florida, it's typically just a safe red stage as baseline. So I don't really think Democrats even a chance here. So I think it's pretty likely the state is this over 10% Republican just normally. In Iowa with Joni Ernst, she previously won Iowa by about 5 points in 2020. So going into 2026, if the Democrats don't run a good candidate in Iowa, then she could win by a safe Republican margin in a best case scenario. Ohio, I mean, John Husted, he was a pretty strong candidate just previously in his electoral history. He won by 10% before. So it's possible he could win by over 10% again in a best case scenario for Republicans. So he could get an over 10-point Republican victory here in the state of Ohio. Going up to Minnesota, it is an open Senate race, and it's possible it could go below 5%, but the Republicans really don't have a shot at actually flipping this Senate seat red. Just looking at most of their candidates, they aren't really that good, so they don't really have the best chances of flipping that state. Going up to New Hampshire with Chris Sununu now announcing he is not going to be running for the New Hampshire Senate race. I'm putting this race as lean blue, even in a best case scenario for Republicans. I still don't think they flip it just because Chris Pappas is a pretty good Democrat who's, I'm pretty sure he already announced he's running. Yeah, he did. And let's just check the Republican side again. I mean, they could run Scott Brown, but he hadn't do so well in 2014. Even in a red year, he still lost by a pretty convincing margin. So doesn't look like they're going to be able to flip this Senate seat just because Chris Sununu has backed out of running. In New Jersey, with Trump only losing New Jersey by like 6 points, it's definitely conceivable it could go down to a likely blue margin. But again, it's Cory Booker. He's definitely got his name in the news, so he's probably going to do about as well as he did last time, winning it by a safe blue margin. But in a best case scenario, it could conceivably come down to a likely blue margin here just because of how well Trump did New Jersey in 2024. Going to neighboring Virginia, the only real way it gets this close is if it becomes an open race and we have like a strong Republican running, maybe like Glenn Youngkin, but still, it would still be a lean blue state in that scenario. I still think, just due to polarization, that even Youngkin would lose Virginia's Senate race, even in a best case scenario. Heading over to New Mexico, I mean, let's just take a look at any potential candidates here. We'd probably have a Republican, or no, probably going to have Dominici, the Republican, run again, potentially. Oh, no, she has declined to run right here. So Republicans are already missing out on their best candidate they could run, who at least made this race like a 10-point race instead of 15.1 in 2024. So, again, it's probably going to be a likely blue seat here in a best case scenario for Republicans. They just don't have any good candidates to run. Heading up to Maine, I mean, if the Democrats don't get a good candidate to run in this race, and even though Susan Collins' approval rating is very, very bad, a lot of MAGA Republicans are still going to vote for her because she still is a Republican. So it's definitely possible that Susan Collins wins by an over 5 point margin. I mean, in 2020, she managed to win by 6 without it going to another round of ranked choice voting. It probably would have been closer in that event. But she did previously win by about 6% in 2020, so it is possible for her to win by a likely Republican margin, especially in a best case scenario for Republicans. Now we're down to 3 more states. So let's go to Georgia. Now, it's very uncertain whether or not Brian Kemp's really going to run in this Senate race. And just looking at the polls, let's say he does run in this best case scenario. If he does, in fact, run, he's definitely going to be the favorite here. And in a best case scenario, he'd probably win this by like 3 points against Jon Ossoff because he's a very well liked figure in Georgia, more well liked than Jon Ossoff, even. So I'd put this as a lean Republican race. In North Carolina, there is the possibility that Roy Cooper doesn't run for the Senate seat in North Carolina. That's definitely possible. It's also possible we get like not a strong Democrat in this race, but Willie Nickel has already thrown his hat in the ring. But again, Tom Tillis, even though he was down in the polls in 2020 previously, he still managed to pull off the victory. Like literally every poll had him down. So it's definitely possible for him to win the North Carolina Senate race. So I'm putting this as lean Republican in their best case scenario. And then we head over to Michigan, and this seat is definitely in play. It's definitely going to be a swing state. And the Republicans could be running Mike Rogers again. He made this race pretty close. He only lost by 0.3, so in a best case scenario, he would definitely win. He definitely has a good shot just normally. So conceivably, if everything goes the Republicans' way, they get the right candidates to run, the environment's not too bad for them. But typically in midterms are bad for the party in power. But let's just say that the environment's like neutral. Then conceivably they could win Georgia, Michigan. They could flip those 2 states, adding 2 seats to their Senate majority. So this is how I kind of see how the map would play out in a best case scenario. They would flip 2 seats, but that's if everything goes their way. And typically in politics, it doesn't go your way. But this is not my actual prediction for the 2026 Senate race. It's just a depiction of the Republicans' best case scenario here. So let me know in the comments down below, what do you think the Republicans' best case scenario in the 2026 Senate map is? I'm curious what maps you guys would think of here, and let me know which seats you would change potentially on a map like this. Other than that, thanks so much for watching. If you aren't already subscribed to the channel, you should definitely consider if you enjoy political content like this. Other than that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.